What's up guys, Project WRX here for another video. So I just finished installing the lug nuts you guys saw last week. As for today's video, we're going to be changing the oil in our car. It's going to be a full tutorial on how to do so, and we'll get started with what exactly you need for the oil change. First thing, number one thing you'll need, of course, is some oil. I'm using some 5W30 Royal Purple. I'm going to try it out. I heard good things about this this oil, so hopefully it works out. Next thing you need, and this one is extremely important, gloves, preferably rubber gloves. Anything really, any type of gloves that are protective will work, but you need gloves because the oil is typically hot and you don't want to get that stuff on your hands, so it's a good idea to keep gloves. Next thing you need are some shop towels. Paper towels will do. Anything. I'm just doing some heavy duty stuff just because it soaks up the oil a little better for when you have spills and stuff like that. Next thing is a socket wrench. Any socket wrench will do. And one of these, what it is, it fits onto your oil filter, and you can take it off and install it with ease instead of doing it by hand. So, and also you're going to need I think a 1/4 millimeter bolt, 1/4 millimeter socket, depending on what your oil drain plug uses. Find out and use that socket. Next thing you'll need, an oil filter. It doesn't really matter, but this one came as a deal with the oil, so I got that. Not a big deal. Most people will prefer to go with the OEM filter. I didn't have that on me, and I got the filter for free, so free stuff, why not? You'll also need an oil pan to get the oil inside, to drain your oil into. Last and final thing you're going to need, funnel for when you're putting the oil back in the car. Of course, you're going to need jack stands if you're going to jack up your car, which I am going to do. Of course, everyone knows that, so I didn't include that in the materials, but yeah, let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is, of course, jack up the car. So to do that, slide the jack under the car. If you have a jack like mine, it's not really a low profile one, so you want to keep the handle as low as you possibly can. Slide it under until you find the point. Once you find the jack point, start lifting. It'll get easier as the car gets higher. So once your car is safely in the air at the level you want it, you want to slide your jacks under the car, locate the proper mounting point, lift the jack up, and just set it there. Make sure they're equal height on both sides. Now that you have the jack stand secure, you can slowly lower your car. A little bit slower than that will probably be a little safer. Now that your car's safely in the air, you want to go ahead and pop the hood. Popping your hood will just help keep things cool, and if you want to, you can also loosen up the cap for the oil, as it could help it flow better. You want to just leave that open, you're perfectly fine. I'm just going to set it down right here, and move on to the next step. Next step, you got to put on your gloves and get ready to get under the car. Make sure you have your socket and your oil pan ready for filtration, and some oil pans have this filter type thing so that the bolt doesn't fall inside the oil, so you don't have to fish it out, which comes up really handy sometimes. So now once you're under the car, locate your oil pan. For me, it's this thing right here. That's the oil drain plug. You want to line up your oil pan, excuse me for the shaky footage, line up the oil pan with the drain plug and estimate where exactly the oil will fall. Line up your pan directly with that and you should be good to go. Now you get the socket and I'll show you guys what to do next. So next thing we're going to be doing is loosening this bolt right here. So I'm going to get my other glove and be ready. It's going to pour down pretty hard, so what you want to do is tighten it, and you see it's starting to fall. Oil's starting to fall, so I'm going to tighten it back up a little bit, move the pan so that it's directly under, and then flip it on again. Now that it's loose, I can loosen it and get the rest off by hand. You want to push into the oil pan until you're fully de-threaded, and then just pull out. And as you can see, I didn't place the pan in the right place, so precaution. Now we're probably going to have to use the shop towel, so make sure you have those handy. So as you guys can see, it can be a little bit messy, a little bit hard to control as the oil keeps getting less and less. So what we're going to do, we've actually got more oil on the floor than we do in the pan. Beginner's mistake. I'm going to go ahead and clean this stuff up and get back to you guys. So this stuff makes a pretty big mess. Now oil is just about finished draining. What we're going to do, we're going to put the cap back on, just kind of clean up the area a little bit. Oil is hot and I should probably be wearing gloves, but yeah, we're going to let it just finish draining a little bit, and I'll get back to you guys once I plug everything back in, because it's pretty hard doing this one-handed. So yeah. So for the next step here, we're going to be removing the oil filter, and make sure you also place the pan under there, because there will be leaking oil from there as well. And make sure you use gloves again, because the oil is hot. Now I'm sure you can do this by hand, but I'm going to go ahead and do it with this thing right here just because I can. So I'm going to go ahead and use this, get it off, and I'll get back to you guys when I'm done. As you guys can see, I have the oil filter sitting here upside down, draining into the pan. You can see that it's still draining out oil up there. We're going to go ahead and let that finish, and then we'll get to the next step. So for this step, excuse me. So for this step, what we're going to be doing is just taking some of this oil right here off the top and just spreading it over here, over the donut area, so that it can provide a little bit of a sealant here as far as keeping the oil in and just making sure that it's all nice and wet, lubricated a little bit, so that we'll be good to go for the oil, because we don't want any burning to happen or any of that stuff. Go ahead and get that done. Okay, so for the next step here, we're going to take the lubricated oil filter and place it up into the place and screw it in. I'm going to get down under the car so I can show you guys what it looks like. Alright, so you place it up inside there, start screwing by hand, and we can tighten it with the wrench later. Just go ahead and stick that in there, grab the wrench, and come right back. Alright, so I have the wrench here. Excuse me for the camera shakiness once again, folks. Hopefully I will get some sort of mount, but for now, alright, that should do it. Alright, now a tip to getting this thing off is just to tap it with a hammer and it comes right off. Alright, so just take it and give it a couple of whacks with the hammer and it just falls right off. Pretty cool. Alright, so now we're done with the underside of the car. You go ahead and remove your oil cap. You place your funnel inside of the hole there, and you get ready to start pouring your oil. It says here GF3 5W30. I'm going to be using Royal Purple. Is my my oil of choice here. I've heard good stuff about this oil, so never tried it. Go ahead and try it. And yeah. So what you want to do, you want to have both hands available for this, which I obviously don't, as I am filming. So I'm going to set the camera down here, hopefully at a decent angle. It's a perfect angle. Now we're just going to slowly, remember to make sure your filter, your funnel is clean, because you don't want any of this gunk and grime going into your oil. So just grab a shop towel and clean the inside of your funnel so that you're not having any of that crap going into your oil, because that could cause some pretty bad problems, and problems are not good. Alright, funnel's clean. Go ahead and place that back in and slowly start pouring. Okay, you want to make sure that doesn't happen. You don't want to get oil everywhere. That seems to be about right. Put the cap back on. So the oil is going to have to settle a little bit, so you want to start it up and let it run for a little bit as you clean everything up, and then you lower the car and you get it out. Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. I just tripped over my jack. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you found it helpful, let me know in the comments if there's anything you think I should improve on, which I know I'm not perfect. I'm not even close to perfect, so let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, share the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.